This world in the near future is to be trod by holy men and wise. You of the present day, who can grasp the glory of your possibility, will be among the leaders of a new dispensation on the earth. You will know that the power of love is greater than the power of hate, and that glory and achievement is meant for every human soul. You will become great in power and majesty, helping to redeem a broken down world of fearful men who have groveled in blindness and despair. You great ones of the future, power and dominion and glory will be yours forever and ever. You will first learn to rule yourself. Then by the power of God you will be able to go forth in wisdom and love to counsel cities and nations and men. You will walk as no others have walked on this humble, tear-stained earth, except the one, for you will become like him, sons of God. We are put here to grow up, to become adults, to be free to live our own lives and to think our own thoughts. However, we still remain children mentally. Education is not mental maturity. Learning is not mental maturity, nor is sophistication, nor pride, nor even worldly accomplishment. Mental maturity is the full developed power of being able to control and use the yet unfathomed powers of the mind and the soul. It is true that inventors, artists, musicians, builders, and some others have learned to concentrate to a certain extent and to tap the greater supply of power, but definite thought control has never been understood as the soul maturity necessary to prepare for godhood, for the full power of achievement. Educational processes of the present day take one farther from the true process of thinking than anything else. One gets his credits in the school of modern training on how well he can memorize other men's thoughts, books, courses of study. Knowledge is poured into him, which he is required to remember, knowledge or facts that will probably be obsolete within a few short years. He may even become an encyclopedia of facts, and is dead and lifeless in using them as a dull book upon a shelf. Intelligence is living, feeling, reaching, an alertness of enthusiasm that must be forever pliable. Real thinking will never permit one to become a fossilized container of stagnant knowledge, but a continual miracle of advancement. Mental maturity is the finding of the path that leads to the deep and hidden possibilities of the human mind and gives a glimpse of their full value, and opens the way for the complete development. Up until this day, there has been a period of preparation between death and the resurrection in which to attain to this state of maturity. Now, however, we are facing a new day, a day when man will be changed in the twinkling of an eye from mortal to immortal being. And this law of thought control will have to begin to work on this plane in order to prepare for the millennium, for there will be no period of death and waiting in which to complete its maturity. It shall have to be done here on this earth. This law of thought control may seem difficult at first, perhaps at a few causal tries, impossible in the ordinary stress of living. Yet in observing more closely, it seems to be the most practical thing that we would possibly undertake and the most worthwhile. It is quite easy to discover that the greatest part of our lives is spent aimlessly wandering up and down in the halls of the past, plucking a memory here, another there, as flowers from the garden of dreams. These flowers, however, have very little value unless we need them for some special occasion to make the present a richer glory by some experience gleaned in the past. But memories that we gather at random, as we wander aimlessly along, wither at our touch, and we cast them thoughtlessly away to pass on together other memories, and in turn leave them behind. So on and on in our minds we wander back down the pages of the past. The past is gone forever. We cannot truly bring it back. By continually abiding in it, we lose the glory and the value of the present, and we may even lose the future. It is true that the future is the Lord's. We cannot reach out and claim one moment of it before it arrives. Only the present is ours to glorify, to bless, to send on into the tomorrows, crowned with the touch of our hands upon it. If we lose the present, if we fail to value it, to glorify it with every breath and thought, then we will also lose the future. Live each moment as you desire the future to be, and the future will fulfill your desires. Leave the memories and enrich each moment of the present with intense desire, far vision, and deep worship. Worse than memory gathering, we sometimes inhabit only the halls of fantasy. We are children, mentally immature. As a race, it is time for us to grow up, to open the hallways of the future by glorifying each moment of the present. So with our heads held high, our faces to the light, and with courageous understanding in our souls, we are to meet this great destiny. It is the future destiny of all mankind. Our every thought must become a purpose, and that one great purpose should be to become like our Heavenly Father, for no parent ever existed who did not plan on his children achieving as much as he had or more. If he is not a jealous, wicked parent, to watch one's children mature is a continual joy in the life of a true parent. When worry is permitted to take hold of one's mind, it is like an old, broken-down phonograph record that goes around and round in the mind, whirling into the same squeaking grooves, the same worn-out notches, bringing nothing but discord, confusion, dismay, terror, fear, ill health, and sometimes insanity. Around and around it whirls through dreary days and sleepless nights, unanswered, unsolved. When one learns to control thought, it becomes a simple thing to weigh carefully every angle of the problem confronting one, seeing its difficulties, its hopeless aspects, even its utter impossibility, its unsolved condition. Then it will be possible to turn off the record, to relax the mind, and to go to sleep in peace, knowing with confidence that it will be solved. As one commands one mind to relax, after giving the subject very careful thought upon every angle, it is possible to turn the difficulty over to the subconscious part of the mind for the solving, which in turn has the power to reach out into the realms of divine light and receive answers. The most glorious thing is the amazing thoroughness of such a process, the ease with which the difficulty is completely taken care of, the impossible situation ironed out. When this becomes a habit, one soon learns to cast out all fear. All fear is darkness. Darkness eventually is eliminated, and there will be no darkness in him, and he will be filled with light and comprehend all things. This is a new day, a day of glory, of mental and spiritual progress. This is a time of preparation for God's day on earth. It is also our day, a day in which you are to leave the dark shadows of the past and light the future by the spiritual desires of the present. The very purpose of controlled thinking is to bring power and glory to every individual who has been created as a child of the Most High God. As one goes more deeply into the study of thought control, he realizes that it is the key of progress and happiness. Existence, even in celestial glory, would not be worth having if we were forever to be slaves to our rambling, wandering thoughts that chase each other around our brains like squirrels in a cage, our spells of temper, our moods, our idle thoughts which waste 90% of our brain power. We have been slaves as surely as we have lived. We have been lashed along or dragged about by our noses with thoughts of fear, doubts, gloom, worry, or just purposeless wandering. If joy has ruled for a short time, our happiness has been snatched in half-hearted degree, for always there would be the knowledge that it probably would not last. There would be tomorrow and tomorrow. Even a few hours might bring a state of mind bordering on despair. Almost every moment has been unpredictable. If this condition were to continue forever in our minds, thoughts ruling us instead of our ruling our thoughts, then life and existence would be a dreary, sordid, meaningless thing, not worth the living. As one learns to become a musician by so many hours of concentrated practice, so it is possible to control one's thought by so many hours of definite work. Just the desire and the will to practice brings the most astonishing results. At first it seems almost impossible to control every rambling, runaway thought. Every thought seems to turn into a laughing, shouting, screaming, boisterous, mischievous child that will keep just beyond reach. To control the mind in this manner, in chasing down every stray, rambling thought, one has to work many, many months. This is not necessary. There is indeed the hard way, the way in which one learns to turn his brain inside out to understand just what thoughts are, how they work, what they accomplish, and how to control them. If one works in this manner, he will find at first that it is necessary to chase each thought around in his mind until it is cornered, and then it is necessary to almost hurl it bodily from the brain. This process takes sometimes an hour or more, an hour just to corner one elusive, defiant little thought that will sneak in again the moment your back is turned. There is the easy way, in which one can fill his mind so full of the vision desired, so full of prayer and hope and love, that there is no room for anything else. This will be explained more thoroughly later on. Thoughts can be such harmless, inoffensive, mild little things as they trip to and fro through one's mind. But just try to send them out and they turn into fighting little demons struggling for existence. There is no such thing as a single thought, for each miserable little entity holds hands with friends, and they in turn with friends and relatives. There is never an end to them. They cling together and fight equally hard to hold their place, like roots cling to the soil. There is never just one that needs to be conquered. They are legion, but however harmless they may seem, they turn into battling armies the minute one tries to banish them. They will kick and struggle and clutch and scream, fighting to hold their own. It becomes necessary at first to almost pick up each one bodily and hurl it out, then bolt the door of consciousness against it. Then, in unlocking the door for even a small crack to evict its playmate or friend who follows, it will edge its way back in. This method demands great patience, but it is a marvelous training. It is an interesting method of procedure if one has the time and energy to spare. It is an education in itself and reveals the startling fact that thoughts are living, vital little entities, each with a distinct personality even as people. On completing this method, one has to spend hours, days, weeks, and months on constant awareness of his own thinking process. And after a while, the subconscious mind is trained to assist. And when a little wandering thought slyly edges its way in, there is a warning from the deeper consciousness. Then, before there is time to turn the attention upon the intruder, it flees, slamming the door behind it. If one is curious enough to open the door a teeny crack to see what little thought had entered, it considers that an invitation in rushes forth with its relatives and friends, and then one finds that he has only turned with stern command, and they flee and are gone. The value of the superconscious or spiritual part of the brain becomes a priceless help in this work. It is the part of us that never sleeps or relaxes. It is the part of the mind that when once it has learned to type, can manipulate the keyboard without any help whatsoever from the conscious mind. Or the part of us that finally learns to drive a car without having to think, or to play a musical instrument without having to search desperately for each key. It is the mind that gives us mastery in any field of achievement. It is quite necessary to get this supermind trained to help in the controlling of thoughts. It always takes rigid, concentrated training to prepare this subconscious or the superconscious to cooperate and change one form, being a mediocre person, into a master. The result of such training in the mind is most amazing. The brain, instead of feeling clogged, tired, and stupid, seems to be alert to almost anything, yet worried about nothing. There is a calmness and control that is majestic, and a joy and glory that is beyond anything that has ever been imagined. There are no longer discordant thoughts, but only confidence that the glory of this work will continue forever and ever, and that our thinking can control our destinies. For by proper thinking, there is no room for dislikes, hates, discord, or confusion. Minds trained like this will in time become so pure that Christ will be able to reveal his mind and will to the children of men by direct contact. Be still and know I am God. Only a few have ever done this, yet it is as practical as breathing or eating. Some have come to this point from dire necessity, when deep sorrow have left a bleak confusion of terror and fear too great to be endured, or when worry and worldly problems have almost submerged them. Then for a moment they have kneeled down and with the power of their intelligence demanded the screaming elements or thoughts and nerves, be still. They have felt the peace and glory of having every warring atom and cell of their bodies instantly grow calm. They have felt their jangling nerves become perfectly in tune with the universe, and they have known for a few minutes at least that God is God, that he is very near, that it is possible to speak and he will hear. This is a glorious experience, and every human being is invited by God to try it. There will be another chapter later explaining how this achievement may be accomplished. Not only is it a beautiful experience to bring occasional calm out of chaos, but it is possible to attain this point of power all of the time, to abide in it continually, or to abide in Him and in His love and peace, in which the screeching problems of the outside confusion melt into the peace and joy of achievement. Then it is that we find it easy to fulfill the command, "Look unto me in every thought. Doubt not, fear not."